Ooh, welcome one, welcome all to episode 290 of the Xbox Expansion Pass, recorded on Saturday, September 13th, 2025. I'm your host, Luke Lohr, the InsipidGhost, joined by my co-host, the intrepid Captain Logun. Today, we'll be checking out a not too busy week in terms of Xbox news, but Borderlands 4 is out now to critical reception and some consumer frustrations on the PC side. Tokyo Game Show is not too far away at this point. We've got Dying Light the Beast on deck, and Battlefield 6 might have a Battle Royale. As always, we hope you enjoy the show. Logan, we like to start the show by offering words of kindness to those who have made our gaming weeks better. But first, how are you, my friend?
Doing good. I had a weird sleep last night. You ever have those sleeps where you do something wrong and you wake up and you're just completely sore, like you were like on a rack or something? That was last night. And so I woke up and I was just like, oh, okay, today's an ibuprofen day. So
yeah,
that was last night. But the week's been pretty good. Busy with work. Haven't really, as you may notice, the background has changed.
I did see that.
I've completely moved because the loft area gets exceptionally hot and there's no circulation up there. Mm-hmm. I invested in a tower fan, an evaporative cooler, and a ceiling fan to try and keep things cool while I was up there. Nothing worked. Yeah. So I was like, all right, well, I guess I am moving this downstairs because trying to do anything at like 84 degrees in the middle of fall is just like no. So
yeah,
I'm quickly like I moved everything into the living room area that's like in my apartment, and it's weird. There's a lot of room up there that I need to like put pictures and stuff on the walls to reduce the echo. So I'm talking really close to my microphone until then, because I'm just like, I can hear it and it bugs me. But other than that, it's a lot cooler now. So a chick came over and she helped me in like 2.5 hours rearrange my entire apartment with furniture for the most part. So yeah. But outside of that, I don't know. It feels like a light week in gaming news for Xbox. Not necessarily everyone else.
Not overall, but in the Xbox adjacent world, it's pretty quiet.
I feel like Xbox is kind of like just twiddling their thumbs. They're like, all right, we don't got anything. Let's roll out some controllers.
That's every other day at this point. Yeah. Yeah. Well, let's give a shout out to Nisahauer, who's in the chat. Clutch Kwando was first today. Good to see you, Clutch, man. I hope you're doing well. Saintster in the house as well. I see Freight Conductor is here and enjoying Borderlands 4. Looks good. Clutch is playing Chronos and Gears. Very cool. And our boy Nicholas Johnson is hanging out with us as well. Good to see you. Oh, and they're soaking it. Sweet, sweet, sweet. More people looks like they're rolling in now as they can. It's good to see you guys. Happy Saturday to you.
Well, how was your gaming week?
Same as last, like I'll I'll play Helldivers with the boys if I have the time. I often, and I was telling you beforehand, I like to listen to like lectures for what I'm studying, or like take my textbooks and put them into spoti.fi and listen to them while I play something kind of light. So I got to play some like repetitious style, like live service games, Helldivers, Fortnite, that kind of thing. But I haven't played anything new. Like I want to play Chronos. I'm waiting on Borderlands because I know when I want it. I want the like full edition and I want to fully dive in. No pun intended on Helldivers, but I'm just gonna wait on that one because that's like another live service in between Helldivers, Rivals, Fortnite, Battlefield. Borderlands can wait till November sales. Plus I'll be done coaching by then. And I'm bummed because, like, again, we talked about this. We're not chasing review codes right now because we are just adjusting to our new life pace. But like Dying Light's coming out, and like that's a single player game in the spooky-ish realm. I feel like that's one I want to pick up. So that and Chronos, I do want to check those out. But I'm saving the funds on that one. I'm just being wise with finances because like every few weeks tuition hits or life, we got a water leak, stuff like that. So I'm just sitting tight and waiting, but I'm having a good time playing the stuff I'm playing. You know what I mean?
That's good. Yeah. I think that's ironically, the best reason for Game Pass and live service games is honestly
100%.
these times where it's like, I would love to just start pre-ordering Amiibo.
Yeah.
Every time I was stopping at gas, when I was moving in the U-Haul,
Mm-hmm.
time I filled up the tank, it was $100, and I'm like, that's another game. That's a game I can't play, and I had to like 5 or 6 times at least, and I was like, that's another game.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another game. Yep.
Totally.
Not going to be able to get that game.
Yep. I get it, but I will tell you, like, one of the things that came out in the Xbox world was Pete Hines talking about like his frustration with Game Pass this past week. And I don't have the quotes in front of me, so I don't want to misquote him, but he was saying something to the effect of, and it was echoed by Shannon Loftis, who was a former Xbox exec as well, essentially that Game Pass isn't good. You know, you can't buy a game anymore. Everything's got to be on a subscription service. And from his inside take, he struck that as a very negative thing. But I will argue that on the consumer side, Game Pass has saved me so many dollars, and I'm really enjoying it. And we've also seen so many success stories about Game Pass, right? Silksong's out there right now, still crushing it just fine. Descenders had its like, it launched on Game Pass, which exploded it in popularity so much that its sequel came out on Game Pass. And there's any number of good examples of Game Pass success. And I don't see a ton of examples where it's not helped a game, right? Like I've never heard of somebody come out and say Game Pass has ruined sales for our game. But I also don't want to step on the experience and worthwhile takes from someone like Pete Hines, who has been on the inside. But I will strictly say, like on the consumer side, particularly of late, like it is a very useful support system for me if I do want to play some stuff, because I do have Silksong waiting for me if I want something new. There's a lot of good spooky stuff in there as well, and so it's like I like Game Pass a lot.
It's I mean, just as an example, I have been like getting into my spooky mood because I usually start like late August and go till mid-November. Try to pass over Thanksgiving if possible, but during that time I'm usually like checking out streaming services, what movies are available, like, okay, well, who's got the Conjuring movies, because the Conjuring just came out with a new movie. I was like, okay, HBO Max has got those, cool, sign up for a month, look for a deal, $3.99 for 3 months for HBO Max is not bad. It's cheaper than spending money on all of the movies because I want to blow through them all like during the spooky season. Same thing with Game Pass. I played Hollow Knight Silksong for a little bit last week because I was like, I want to jump into this and kind of see like how it looks. And I was like, this is pretty, it's good. I don't have time to play it right now, but I have been enjoying the fact that it's available to me. And anytime I go onto Game Pass, there's usually something there that I'm like, this is great. It's always interesting to me when you hear like these developers or these executives come out and, like Gentle Stone says, consumer friendly, not C-suite friendly, because they're not making money just on cold hard sales that people are regretting. Right. But to be perfectly honest, having people get exposure to games in general is an easier way to make up for losing that digital library 100%. Race that they lost back in the Xbox One and PlayStation 4 era. So I get that a lot of people who are in business are going to look at this as a lost leader. And if it is, that's good for your company because you're going to have people like signing up for Game Pass. There's a lot of people that sign up for Game Pass and never utilize everything for it. Sure. They may just have it for 1 or 2 games.
I'm a happy subscriber to Ultimate for all the benefits I get, like PC and cloud and all of that stuff. But in truth, I'm still a primary console user, and I still feel like I get my worthwhile monies for it. That said, I chase it if I see it on sale, right? Like I do try to build on it because I do fear it going up in price. And there is a ceiling for me on a subscription service. If it goes above 20, I'm out, because I, as a gamer, consume $20 worth of Game Pass a month easily. So to me, it's worth it. But there is a ceiling. And I also was, again, I don't want to step on Pete Hines' experience. This is not meant to be a rage bait conversation. That's not how we operate here, because he's got massive.
I try very hard.
But
legislation.
But I do struggle with the idea that it's taking sales. Like nothing stops anyone that wants to purchase those games. Nothing stops them. There's also a discount if you're a Game Pass subscriber to purchase them. And many of the things that are available in Game Pass are spotlighted and for sale on other platforms and other storefronts. And I know, Matt, I was listening to our friends at the Nerd Chat. Shout out to them. Yeah. Shout out to everyone but Dan. I just love trolling him. In truth, it was funny because Matt Piscatella came out and shared the like lifetime sales for PlayStation 1 games, right? Or PlayStation, it was a PlayStation platform games. And almost every major seller on PlayStation was a third-party game, you know? And it was interesting to me. It's like third parties where it's at, and there's a lot of good third-party games in Game Pass. Enjoy that, right? Veilguard is in there. That's a game I want to play for sure. I definitely want to check that one out. So it's always just one of those strange things to me. It's not like the rental business destroyed gaming. The gaming market adapted. What almost destroyed gaming was the used market, was the used games market. And so I always chuckle at some of these things, but I don't know everything about it. Yeah. That said, as a consumer, I'm going to continue with Game Pass.
Yeah. I adamantly feel like the people that say that Game Pass destroys the sales of video games are speaking to the audience that buy the video games and then regret buying it because it wasn't something they enjoyed.
Right.
I think that the people that play Game Pass and play a game and get completed to full completion probably have enough admiration that they would want to go buy something related to it because it impacted their gaming experience enough. I see that a lot more. The people that buy games, and I mean, how many times have you been there? Like I remember buying Forsaken 64 on the N64 back in the day, putting it in and playing it, and I was like, yeah, it's okay. It's not really. There's tons of games that I bought and regret. Dragon Age 2, really good example. The fervor came out about Dragon Age, and I was like, I want to try it. Jumped in for 15 minutes. I was like, I do not enjoy whatever this is, and I regretted that. But Game Pass affords me that opportunity. I don't waste my money if I feel like I'm finding stuff that I like and finding stuff that I don't like that I didn't have to buy.
Yeah, 100%. I mean, how many times I'm sure the graybeards in the chat and anybody,
old people.
How many times has cover art sold you on a game and you're like, ugh.
Oh yeah,
right?
Dude,
like, whoops.
Dude, look at the Atari.
Nintendo, Super Nintendo, like
Super Nintendo sold me on so many games that I was like, Goonies 2? Hell yeah, I want to play Goonies 2. I don't know what the hell's going on in Goonies 2. I didn't even know there was a Goonies 1. Spoilers, there ain't.
I'll tell you what, man, YouTube has changed how people buy games because they can sample, see gameplay, that kind of thing.
Oh yeah.
And it's fascinating and fun to watch. And unintentionally, I'm going to transition into Borderlands because Borderlands review codes didn't go out to a majority of high profile outlets. Shout out to Season Gaming and our friends at Xbox Era, as well as gamingtrend.com, because I'm really happy they got them. But like Mr. Matty Plays and Skill Up and a lot of other outlets didn't. And so it's like, why? Why not? It's very strange on 2K's part. That said, how many consumers are able to go to YouTube, watch these reviews, watch these gameplay deep dives, watch these gameplay and decide whether or not Borderlands 4 is for them? So that is a neat thing, I think.
I was watching Twitch drops. I was watching Goliathan play for drops and Burke Black for drops, because I was like, well, I don't care about the drops, but I am curious to see the gameplay. Yeah. And what I saw, it looked fun.
It looks great.
It looks like more Borderlands. I mean,
in a good way. I think.
And I think I think this is probably going to be the best Borderlands that they've made. But you know, I feel like intrinsically lost because I haven't played through 1 through 3, the prequels.
You never played 2?
No, I've tried all of them. I've literally tried and worked through all of them. And it just, for whatever reason, nothing clicked enough for me to be like, okay, I got to find out what's going on.
Interesting.
It's really bizarre. And it bugs me because it's like, I like cell shading. I like the characters. The gameplay's fun. I understand the loop. But for whatever reason, just there's like, and I even watched the Borderlands movie. That's how hard I've tried.
Yikes. That might be why you're frustrated.
No, after.
I love Borderlands. I genuinely love Borderlands. Now, like my buddy Kev, he loves it in a different way. Like he every single game, max out everything, build crafting.
Body pillow kind of way?
Not quite there, but close.
Okay.
But
not shaming anyone, by the way. You have your body pillows. Luke has his Ninja Turtle one.
Hey, kids are watching.
Sorry.
Thank you. Leave Leonardo out of this. When it comes to Borderlands, I've played the first game and beaten it. The second game I played on 360, PlayStation 4, PlayStation Vita, PS3, and Xbox One through back compat. Tales from the Borderlands is fantastic. I enjoyed Handsome Jack's whatever the pre-sequel, I think it was.
Yeah.
I enjoyed it but didn't finish it. And 3 I couldn't be bothered with because of the timing, what else was going on, because those games are build, craft, and live service. But I loved the humor. I thought it really translated well into portability with like Vita. I wonder if Borderlands 4 will do that. I don't know how, if you have to be online to play kind of thing. And if so, I think that'd be a shame because I would love to play that kind of a game on a Steam Deck, sit on the couch or in a hotel or like when I'm traveling. That would be fun. And with the new Xbox handheld on the horizon, I think a lot of people, if it was truly portable, that'd be real nice. I just don't think that's how those games work anymore. But I do love Borderlands as a concept and franchise. And I hope this one does well. I mean, again, I want to shout out Xbox Era. Our buddy Jesse gave the game a 10 over at Xbox Era.
I know.
That's incredible, right?
Highest one I've seen.
Highest one I've seen. But Jesse, something I have learned about him over the years, not only is he an incredibly kind soul and been supportive of us at XEP, like truly he has. I want to give him due credit and just thank him for all of his support. But he defends his points very well every time, no matter what he says. Like whether it's if he's on the outskirts of an opinion, he always backs it up with data, evidence, and reasoning, and I appreciate that. But Xbox Era gave it a 10. GamingTrend.com, our buddy David Burdett and his outlet, 85. Game Informer 8.5. IGN 8. Games Radar 8. VGC 4 out of 5. GameSpot 7 out of 10. And then I listened to Ains's review this morning. Shout out to Season Gaming. He was very high on it. For the launch version, and so that's cool. You were kind enough while I was chatting to look up some stuff as far as the live service aspects of playing on and offline. Do you mind sharing that?
So according to the FAQ over on 2K's website for Borderlands 4, you can play Borderlands 4 features offline. You can play all the single player activities, and some features such as online multiplayer will not be available when playing offline for obvious reasons. I also found out that if the FAQ was asking, do I need to play other Borderlands games to enjoy the story of Borderlands 4? And I said, nope. Borderlands 4 takes place on the all new planet of Karos, where you'll encounter new heroes and villains, making it the perfect entry point for new players. To longtime Borderlands fans will enjoy seeing some familiar faces, but you can absolutely enjoy Borderlands 4 without any prior knowledge to the previous Borderlands games, which kind of sells a little bit more for me, to be honest.
I was muted in typing. Apologies. No, I think that's the thing. I think a lot of lessons were learned from Borderlands 3, which a lot of people say was a fantastic game, and bravo for that. But it didn't hit and have the mainstay. There were certain things that needed to be done, and so new players couldn't come in with quite the same element. So what you just shared, I'm excited on that front because you don't have to play online. You can just enter in. And some of those features may not be there, but that's fantastic in an era where handheld is the jam. Yep. So that's really cool.
Yeah.
Clutch Kwando beat me to the punch in pointing out in chat that for all these great reviews, there's a lot of performance issues that are being cited as far as PC optimization. And that is a red flag that I think is fair to waive. I consistently struggle with what PC optimization means, not in definition, right? I understand that part, but so many people have so many different like build setups, and Unreal Engine 5 tends to have so many kinks on the PC side that when they launch, that I'm curious how quickly Gearbox and the support studios are able to address it, because if indeed there is an optimization element that could be fixed quickly, great. But should you slight the game for that? And I think yes, just to be clear, if you purchase a game and can't play it, that's a problem, right? But I feel like a lot of these people that are reviewing the game and not necessarily citing those things, they're probably reviewing the game on its merit and gameplay styles, not the performance of a PC build. But that's just my theory, right? Because I mean, I'm largely a console gamer. That said, it does stink. So big shout out to Kylia over on the Twitch side. Kylia, the reason it says the wrong thing is because I have access to the StreamYard, which kicks out to Twitch, and Logan has to go into his Twitch and switch that one up. So that's probably why it's happening. But hey, big YouTube people, if you're willing to hit that like button and share, YouTube has been very strange to content creators this week, and we would love the support, because our views went down, so did a bunch of major outlets, and it's been very strange. I think everyone's adapting to a new algorithm, and I don't know. I'm not trying to beat the algorithm at this point. I've even changed our thumbnail format. I'm not sure if you noticed that, to just be more simple, because I just want to celebrate games with our community and not necessarily, I don't know what it is.
Yeah. I think as we get more time, we'll be able to invest more in trying to cheat the algorithm so that we actually have like better viewership, because honestly, I feel like it's tough. It's the same issue I have with Keelhold. I've been making the podcast for almost 8 years. The viewership drops over time, and a lot of that is because of the state of the game.
For Keelhold, not XEP, just to be clear.
Yeah, for Keelhold.
Our viewership doesn't drop. We tend to ebb and flow.
Yeah.
And
to be fair, like mine does too with Sea of Thieves, and a lot of it depends on the content that's coming out, right? But I definitely know, like at least with the performance issues going back to Borderlands, I know that the issues that people are going to run into are going to get fixed quickly, because they're anticipating that kind of like issues as they open it up to hundreds of thousands of people. They're going to get that analytical data and reports back, and they can start like looking at generalized kind of sets of PC hardware and kind of optimize for that. I know a lot of people always forget to like update their video drivers before they jump into a new game, and that always makes a performance issue as well too. So usually, like if you're running into that, one of the perks of not having to worry about that kind of stuff is with the consoles, like you just plug and play the hardware set, so developers know what to shoot for. And a lot of developers tend to shoot for kind of lower specs. But I did see that, I can't remember where it was, but I did see someone talking about how things like graphical presets and depth of field, or not depth of field, field of vision. I think there were a couple of things that most people, especially on console, just expect that were not actually included in the game at launch. So I'm curious to find out, like, if you get a chance to go into it, or if someone in chat has been able to look in and see, like, can you switch between performance and graphic settings? Does it look good to you, or do you feel like it's lacking in other areas? I'm always curious, like, how come some of those options don't necessarily get to kind of like get brought over just as a bare minimum for all games, especially nowadays. It's like talking about games that are not running at 4K 60 and just being like, this is a shooter. Like, we should add a bare minimum, expect 60 frames per second, and at least upscaling to 4K. So it's been interesting to see like what's going on with some of the choices that like 2K and they as far as they've made, as far as like publishing and what they're wanting to have kind of like presented as like the game as a whole. But glad to see that at least the content itself is something that people are enjoying. So that's, at the end of the day, like, you can always overlook some of these hiccups and stuff. I mean, 30 frames per second is not acceptable, but I think a lot of people are kind of just enjoying the game and getting into a Borderlands that's actually fun.
I'll be interested to see a week from now how it's doing. For all the attention that Silksong gained gained for concurrent viewership, high level purchases on multiple storefronts, that kind of thing. It'll be interesting to see how Borderlands is received because it's had such a love-hate relationship with its community and consumer base. That'll just be something fascinating to watch, is how Gearbox handles that stuff. I know that I think I'm the only one in my gaming crew that didn't snag it, and they're going to be playing and like excited for them. No, Suddy and I are both holding off. I'd rather, if I do buy a game, I'd rather it be Dying Light or Chronos. You know, like I just want a single player experience, I think, for a bit. But I'm excited to see how Borderlands goes, and I'm excited to see how the industry responds to it, because it's the second of this silly season of games. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Silksong kind of kicked us off. You got Borderlands, then Dying Light, and then what is it?
Quickly going into like Ghost of Yotai and
Silent Hill F, Sonic
Silent
Racing,
Hill, Battlefield.
Yeah.
Got all the Nintendo stuff that just got announced as well too.
Yeah. It's
tons of stuff. It's kind of crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. So yeah, quick shout out to Diehard79 and Beans, as well as Kylia and Nick, who are watching over on Twitch. I think there are more Twitch people. Those are the only ones that are popping up in chat. But it's good to see you guys. Hope you guys are doing well. Logan, I want to talk briefly about, and I've talked about it on multiple episodes. Before we go into another game, I want to talk about a piece of hardware that has been making just my gaming life better.
Yeah.
And that's the Razer Wolverine V3 Pro Edition.
Nice.
I know I've talked about it before, and I want to say again, this is the best controller I've ever used.
Yeah.
It's made gaming so much more comfortable. And what's absurd is I think it's only $100. And this past week, I wanted to sit back further on the couch because like the Pro Edition's wired. I wanted to sit further back.
Yeah.
And so I was like, all right, I'll switch to my Elite controller.
Yeah.
Man, let me tell you, after using the Razer Wolverine with its mouse click buttons, and it's got an extra button for like a setting if you want to do anything. It's got anti-drift elements to it, and all these just little customization feeling things. But for me, the mouse click buttons are the best. When I went to that Elite, I was just so frustrated at how antiquated it felt versus how modern this Razer controller felt. And I was like, what is this? What is this, Xbox? You release 48 controllers a week. It's time for a new controller, a better one. As much as I like some of the styles they do, I don't ever want to not use a Wolverine Razer controller again. And man, I'm loving it. And if anybody sits close to a monitor, $100 for this thing is the way to do it. Because like, yeah, it's wired, but there's no latency, and it's right up in there. And I will invest in a wireless one at some point down the line, because it's that good. And I have to say that again. It's like the 5th show where I've said that, but I just really want to drive that point home.
Yeah, if I played on controller more, I would probably use that or my Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra, because having like the dials and stuff to kind of nail in like your performance and stuff really does like make a difference. I was watching shout out, you were talking about Season Gaming earlier. I know it's funny, the eve of Borderlands embargo, I reached out to Ains and I was like, dude, your review is really good, not realizing like he had one queued up for Borderlands, and he's like, which one? And I'm like, and I just jokingly, I was just like, yeah, all of them, just watch all.
You freak him out.
Yeah, I did. I freaked him out. He thought he scheduled it wrong. He thought his Borderlands review went live, and I was sitting there talking about the Wolverine controller review that he did, and it was just very, very. I felt really bad. I was like, all right, well, the next game that you're reviewing, I'll make sure to hit you up the night before and be like, dude, it's so good. What a great review.
Yeah,
just to mess with him again.
Yeah.
But yeah,
there's something terrifying about an embargo.
Oh yeah,
you load it because you got to upload the video early, and you got to make sure it's buffered, ready to go, and you got to hit that date. Yeah,
time zones, man.
It's so scary,
ridiculous. But yeah, I echo that. It's the reason why, like, at least for PC gaming, I can't bring it up right now, but I use Glorious mice, and stuff for mouse and keyboard. Because
Glorious or Steel Series? Like for Glory, like Steel Series, or do you mean there's a company called Glorious?
there is a company called Glorious.
Oh, okay.
They were born and created out of the concept of the. Do you remember the Escapist?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name, but he always did the yellow kind of reviews on stuff, and was a very angry Australian.
Huh? No, that's not him.
No, it was I can't remember. It was like the Escapist reviews and stuff.
Zero punctuation.
Zero punctuation. Yeah. That's it. Created the concept of PC Master Race, right?
Oh, did he? Okay.
So Glorious came out of that concept of the PC Master Race, where the consoles are fighting each other, and the PC Master Race comes out and is just glorious. So Glorious Mice came out, and that's like the equivalent that you feel with your Wolverine is how I feel with these Glorious Mice. They're exceptionally well made. They're amazingly light, and they have all the RGBs that you'd want, plus like the threaded cables. It's like the best features you could possibly ask for in a mouse, all kind of like boiled down to its and they're very expensive for mice. Like you can get decent mice for pretty good price. These ones are pretty high, which is why I think that they understand their market. But it's the same thing with like looking at Wolverine controllers. It's like if I played more on controller, I would probably invest in a Wolverine at some point. I've been very happy with the Turtle Beach Stealth Ultra that I had. The pivot's interesting. Sometimes I still notice some of the issues when I play with that, with the accidentally rolling the joystick and it dropping down because of the nature of the pivot controller. But yeah, the Xbox controllers, the Elite needs to, 1, get lighter, 2, get programmable buttons that add hotkeys, don't remap hotkeys. I think that's an issue that I run into with consoles, is that we've got all these buttons on controllers, but you can't create hotkeys. PC, like mouse and keyboard, I've got an entire keypad that I can use to map different things to. I think controller needs to step it up in that sense. If I've got 3 buttons on top of each side with LB, RB, in the bumpers and stuff, like having the bumpers and the triggers and then having that little claw input, just let me make that into a new one. Doesn't matter what you want it to do, but I think we need to evolve there. But I'm glad to hear that you're still enjoying it. I know you're still enjoying the Gunners as well too. The Witcher Gunners were finally announced.
They're sending me a pair of Witcher sunglasses.
I was talking to our contact there, and I reached out and I was like, I would love to. I can't justify it, but they are really pretty. I really like the Witcher ones. Yeah. The Ciri ones are pretty nice as well too. But
they are.
Man, those Geralt Witcher ones are cool.
It's funny to me because I've needed them, like the glasses. I've just needed them because of all the screen time now, and I didn't realize how much more screen time I would be having with work and school. Because we already game a lot. I was like, surely no, they've been lifesavers. You talking about mice? You know which one I use?
Oh yeah,
I use the Razer Halo one.
Yeah,
that's cool. I like that one. All right, man. Well, that's a genuine and sincere plug for that Wolverine. I love it. Nerd Chat jumping in here saying, I agree with Logan 1,000,000%. But also, Daddy D Wally was playing with his new controller, $80 last night, and loved it. Very promising. Cool. There you go. I don't know which one he's agreeing with you about. Looks like you said the GameSir G7 Pro. All right. Dan throws a controller every week, though. It's crazy.
It's true. It's like he's trying to be Jordan on Instagram, where he throws his glasses every week.
Yeah, it's something. But also, never mind. No, too easy. All right. Let's see. Let's switch gaming modes here. I did want to point out Silksong. We mentioned it a few times. Absolutely crushing it in terms of sales and being one of the highest rated games of 2025, which is crazy. Split Fiction still holds that honor with a 93 Metacritic, but Silksong landing around, let's see, I think it's a 92 so far, 293 in there, and they're still kind of like landing down on that as more reviews come in, which is cool. I was happy to see that among the highest rated games this year was Helldivers 2. It was at number 10 with 86. But kind of cool blueprints and Clair Obscur 91, 90, Monster Hunter Wilds 90, Kingdom Come Deliverance 288. It's neat to see that stuff because these communities react to the live service aspects of these games. I know the Monster Hunter Wilds community is not happy right now. But I don't hear about that unless it gains big traction, and yet it's still one of the highest rated games of the year. It's just interesting when those things happen. But Silksong, if the reviews stopped coming in, would be tied for number 1 at 93, which is kind of cool. So that's
very curious to see at the end of the year, as a lot of the times come with the award shows and presentations, looking at the indie kind of scale of where games fall. Like if it's too polished or if it looks too AAA, they don't look at it as an indie game, even though the studio themselves are very small and
right.
have had to have hire help outside of their studio just to be able to get them translated and published. Looking at something like Expedition 33 and Hollow Knight, it is clear that these two small studios have done exceptional jobs with creating their games. Not to disparage Blueprints, but I just don't think that Blueprints is as good.
I think it's a more niche interest game.
It is. I think
it's like they did a visual novel is getting rated 90. It's not quite the same mainstream appeal.
Yeah, I think that and unfortunately, I feel like a lot of this comes down to game mechanics and skill level. I think a lot of people judge games based on how skillfully intact they are. Like if you have a really tight game, like an Ori the Blind Forest or Tales of Kanzara, things like that tend to get like lifted up a little bit higher than a visual novel with an exceptionally well told story that brings you into twists, like a Doki Doki Literature Club or a Blueprints kind of game.
Right.
You look at the end of the year and you're like, okay, well, these are the top hitting indies. I'll be very curious to see which of the two, in my mind, because Clair Obscur is kind of the one that I would look at and be like, this would be my pick if I was picking game of the year right now for indies. I would vote for Clair Obscur than Hollow Knight because I don't have a fandom for either, but I do think that Clair Obscur has accomplished more for how big the studio is, and I just think their game is better personally. Sure. But very interesting to kind of think about, like, long term, what's this going to look like at the end of the year.
That's a great take. The idea that Clair Obscur has contributed to the improvement of a genre and gaining traction and putting more eyes on a project. And I would argue it revitalized the turn-based interest for a lot of people. Whereas Hollow Knight is an extension of the first game that improved upon its predecessor. That said, that's not to be demeaning. No one should misinterpret that as demeaning, but also interesting, kind of in that same realm, Logan, is that those two games are highly successful. You take it back to the very beginning of the show about Game Pass. Those two games launched into Game Pass.
Yeah.
And that is interesting in and of itself as well, because my understanding is that Clair Obscur sold very well, and of course we know Hollow Knight is selling very well, to the point where, and I just saw this kind of haphazardly, there's like a popular pirating site, SkillUp was reporting on this, a popular pirating site where they were like, all the people in that community were like, we're going to buy Silksong this time.
Yeah.
It's like, what? You're picking and choosing how awful you're going to be based on
that's where that kind of like that grassroots movement kind of happened. Like, when you feel like there is a company that is yearning to try and strive for excellence and you see them achieve that, reward inevitably follows for the most part, and only a few cases with, like, we look back at like Titanfall 2 and you're like, Titanfall 2 deserved better and they didn't receive it. Those are the kind of things where it's like, now everyone champions Titanfall 2 because we saw the how good it was. It did not get the credit that it deserved, and we constantly now give it flowers all the time. So it's always it's nice to see like pirating sites being like, you know what, we've saved a lot of money by not buying anything for enough time. I think this time maybe we could shell out like the $20 for this one.
I don't want to stay on this topic long because Silkanet has a great comment, as does Nerd Chat. But I do find the pirating culture to be interesting and necessary for informing people of interest. And when things aren't made available because of live service or what is it? Like rights, digital rights and licensing and things like that. If a game should not be lost to history. And in that case, when there's no alternative, there's an argument to be made for game preservation through pirating Nintendo and a lot of the cartridge stuff that's lost, or CD-ROM games that can no longer be played, or there's an element to that which is worth exploring.
Oh yeah.
Yep. Let's give a shout out to Silksong, who said choosing between Expedition 33 and Silksong for his top spot will be heart wrenching. I can imagine, man. I listened to some of that Expedition 33 soundtrack while I was working the other day. It was good stuff. I love this question from the Nerd Chat. I believe Jose is running the account right now. He says, could we also argue that Silksong is doing a lot for gaming by setting its price lower, especially when it doesn't have to? I have my take on this one, but I've talked for a bit. You go first on this one.
I don't know that it necessarily, I mean, it does open the door for more people to enjoy it. It's a much easier barrier to entry. I don't know that it's doing a lot, because we still have a lot of games out there that are good, that are at lower price points. But I think that in this instance, what we can do is look at the studio and applaud them for not going for the cash grab. Because as we've seen just yesterday, Nintendo is more than willing to sell you $100 piece of plastic that emulates a bad system for 14 games that will be lost when the live service ends at the end of whenever they decide to kill the Switch series and come out with new hardware.
He's talking about the Virtual Boy replica.
Yes, the Virtual Boy replica. Or if you want to spend $40 on a piece of cardboard, they have introduced Labo 2. But Silksong doing right by the consumers, I want to say that is them, not like a mea culpa situation, but I do think that they know that they've made fans wait a very long time for this game. And I think they want their game to be enjoyed as much as they possibly can. I also would argue that them taking the bags of money for being day one Game Pass, or whatever the deal was for being on Game Pass, is subsidizing that low entry point, so that if people if it wasn't for Game Pass, if they weren't getting paid through Game Pass, we could have seen them have to put the price out at $40. They may have had to put out the price at $60. We don't necessarily know the terms of the deal, but we know that they aren't putting it on Game Pass for free.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. I want to cite Silk in its response. He says, it's also doing harm to other indies at its price point, because if you price higher and recoup costs, you're inviting bad comparisons. I don't agree, but I appreciate the logic in that. There is a sound bit of logic to that one. Nerd Chat following up with other considerations that Silksong is a true and lengthy sequel. It's not just DLC, but it's at a price comparable to many DLCs. For my point, for my thought process on this one, to me, that price is just fine for the type of game you're getting and the quality game you're getting. It's certainly exceptional for that reason. But you look at others in its genre that are comparable. Ori, Axiom Verge, Tales of Kenzera Zao have all launched at those price points or similar ones. Not Rogue Prince of Persia, Lost Crown, a great one as well. Sometimes they explode, sometimes they don't. There's a zeitgeist element to it. I don't think that price point. I think Team Cherry is getting a lot of attention for a game that's really good, when there are other games that are just as good or close to it. They're in the same pantheon of quality, I guess you might say, that are comparable prices, and they're not breaking the industry. Shinobi, a recent example, Ninja Gaiden as well. They're in that price range, I guess is what I'm saying. And so I don't think anyone was harmed in that. I appreciate that indies got out of the way of it, and that's wise given all the wish listing. But I think Hollow Knight Silksong is a phenomenon, not a standard. I appreciate that it did bring up the conversation of finances, because it puts some AAA games on notice, and a lot of AAA games are realizing that $80 is too much. I mean, Xbox themselves walked back Outer Worlds. They walked back Call of Duty, although they didn't publicly announce Call of Duty, but I have on very good account they walked that back. There's your inside scoop. There's a lot that there's a lot that I guess you would say goes into this discussion, and there's a lot of examples on both argument fronts and everywhere in between that justify different points. So no, I don't think it harmed anything. I also don't think it changed the medium in the way a Clear Obscure did. However, for us to even have this conversation at a logical level is important, and that does deserve to be credited every single time.
Yeah. I know that Hollow Knight has definitely sucked a lot of the air out of the room for every other thing that was launched around this time frame. Like to your point last week, nobody's talking about how good they're enjoying Indiana Jones in the Great Circle download that's out for the new Giant DLC. And the new Giant DLC is coming in at $35 on top of the cost of the base game itself. That's something to be said about, like it really depends on what you have and how greedy do you have to be when it comes to that. For whatever reason, Hollow Knight Studio doesn't feel like they need to charge much more. And maybe that's because they had tons of backers who were paying for it ahead of the time when they were working on it. Maybe it was because of the bag of cash that Xbox gave them. But for whatever reason, they felt that they were compensated in other means to not necessarily have to do that. And I don't think that every indie game gets that kind of backing. Right. There's a publisher that's usually involved, unless they self-publish, that is going to want some return on investment. And not everyone gets to do, Kickstarter things. Not everyone gets to do Game Pass deals or PlayStation Plus deals. So it really kind of comes back to who was smart when it came to the publishing of this and made it easier for Hollow Knight fans to get in at $20 compared to other indie games.
Yep. Good point. Well said. Well said. Let's move on just a bit. I'm going to briefly shout out our patrons because they've been supporting us immensely. I do want to say that if anybody would like to support us, we'd be honored if you consider dropping a subscribe over on our patreon.com/Xbox Expansion Pass. And if that's not able to happen, the like button's right there. Subscribe on YouTube. But everything helps us keep the lights on and the content coming. And we appreciate you guys being channel members, etc. All of it. I am going to give our shout outs to our tier 2 and 3 members. That would be the incredible Matto 1606, Clutch Kwando, Omen, Jesse Prius, Fatto, Aaron G, Nick Bentley, The Scarecrow, Ken Rosing, Fabian Winkler, Regis Stella the Brony Pirate, Rob Frawley II, Tal Zochi, Nicholas Johnson, Randolph Thor 19, Hafrican, Game Positive, Jam Pack Sam, Red Beast, and his kids. Shout out to them. Dano12, DJ Hero, Brendan Myers, aka The Winter Gamer, the Lord Sir Master James Suddy, and Sony's VP of Marketing, Kevin Butler. Thank you guys for helping us out. We appreciate you tremendously. So,
yeah, definitely.
I was listening to Nerd Chat this week, and they were giving a spotlight to the fact that Battlefield 6 is going to have a battle royale, and they had a great discussion on it. And I don't want to step on that toes because I've not researched this one, but I will say I have no desire to play a Battlefield 6 battle royale because I'm getting battle royale served in other places, and I like the big maps that make Battlefield special.
That's fair.
But I'm curious if it makes a dent in the live service realm in any way, shape, or form. You know what I mean?
I mean, they have a lot going for them right now. They have been pushing the realism aspect of it. They've really tempered back on some of the grandiose features that they tried to sell with 2042. It feels a lot more like getting back to basics. The Battle Royale was interesting. I went to watch the video that was leaked from a Chinese player over on Reddit, and it was basically them sitting in a plane for X amount of time, choosing like stuff that they wanted to do for their class and whatnot. The interesting thing that I thought was kind of cool was it looks like they're going with the Apex Legends dive approach, where you have a squad lead and you're connected to your squad, and your squad lead decides where you dive and they control everyone else. You can still break away like in Apex Legends, but given the nature of how Battlefield works with their classes like engineer, support, assault, stuff like that, recon, um, I think sticking together as a team, like a close knit team, is the best way to go about that. And it'll be interesting to kind of see like how they go about this, because basically when I watched the drop, it just looked like Call of Duty to me.
Yeah,
it really did. And at that point, I'm like, okay, I have skins and stuff that I'd rather use in Call of Duty. I'm familiar with the guns, the loadouts. I've already got that all kind of stuff set up. Battlefield's going to have to do something really unique to justify why jumping into their battle royale as opposed to Fortnite or PUBG or Call of Duty would draw me away from it. And the only thing I can think of is that they are going to allow for more destructibility in their building than what you would normally see out of like COD, because COD's pretty like a wall's a wall. You can't do anything to the wall, but at least in Battlefield you can. So it'll be interesting. I don't know if it'll make a dent. I think Battlefield is best served on their conquest and rush stuff. But at that point, I don't think that they need the battle royale to be successful this year.
Right. I don't either. It's an odd inclusion, given that the entire premise of Battlefield is you're one among many. Yeah. And in COD, you're the main character, but by battle royale by nature forces you to be the main character. So it feels a bit at odds with the spirit of Battlefield. Yeah. That said, I bet you have some very unique moments of destroying a building to bring down a team, squad wipes mattering a bit more, that kind of stuff. Yeah. I will say, and I mean this wholeheartedly, the whole argument about skins in these military shooters, I get it 100%. I would love a toggle button, but in Battle Royale, like if you choose to have a brightly colored skin, you're hurting yourself. Cool. Like, I don't know, man. There's a middle ground, right? I like when you have the spirit of the game, like a Call of Duty version of a character, not Seth Rogen himself, not Nicki Minaj herself. There's a line, but like you can have a version of it. I'm interested to see what collaborations, if any, come to Battlefield, because I think they're gonna happen, but what suits it and fits it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. One of the funniest things is seeing the goofiness out of a COD BR victory screen, and just looking at it and being like, oh, it's a bunch of furry characters and then Butthead from Beavis and Butthead. It's so weird, dude. But for whatever reason, that's what people enjoy. I think Battlefield is set up to do really, really well. They've got a long lead time ahead of COD to be able to prove like whether or not their live service is going to sustain them better than when Call of Duty comes out. Because a lot of Call of Duty fans are going to basically jump back in regardless. Like I know personally from my own desires, I want to go through that campaign because it looks like it builds off of what was really unique about the last campaign. That kind of brought it into more of like a Resident Evil Control style like genre, and it looks like they're doing more of that with Call of Duty. So I definitely want to check it out at that level. And shout out in our Discord, because XEP has our Discord. We've got some fantastic people in there. But I was we kind of brought this up in there, and Split End came out and talked about how Endgame for Call of Duty's campaign is going to feel more like DMZ Zombies, because we're probably not going to be going back to a DMZ zombie style zombie mode for Call of Duty, which I actually am disappointed about. I'm not a huge fan of the whole level wave-based zombie mode. And I don't know, I'm kind of going back to Battlefield. Very curious to find out, like, are they going to survive the Call of Duty launch?
Yeah, no, that's a very good point. Interesting. Huh.
I don't know. It's hard to say. I'm rooting for them just because they had to eat so much crow with 2042. And I think them going back to their roots is the best choice that they could have made. Whereas now Call of Duty is doing anything and everything to try and stretch out to address other markets that are not like what their normal kind of military shooter is right now.
Yeah. I'm toying with all the aspects that come into it, because like there is a financial element to all of it. But I like the thought process.
Yeah.
I'm gonna postulate that one for a bit. All right. I want to get a question. Silkenet wrote to us over on Blue Sky. Shout out to them. Let's see. Silkenet said,
Silkenet sounds familiar. Is that a person
he's
we
a
should
fella.
know?
He's a guy. He's out here. Silkenet says, does a piece of media really devalue in over time? Devil's advocate here. I see people not happy with Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD at $70, but you get 2 games, arguably the best of the Marios, at $35 each. Why do we expect games to get cheaper with age? It's not like they're getting used. Ooh, okay. I'm going to take this one first. It's a great question. I think it's not a binary answer. We tend to like binary answers. It is or it isn't. Yes or no. Good or bad, that kind of thing. I think there is something to be said for capturing the preservation aspect, and that's good. However, if I'm going to boot up a game in 99% of cases, I want modern sensibilities to be with it. If Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD do not have modern control schemes, they don't comfortably work well, they don't fix some of the bugs, they don't refine stuff, I'm hesitant to spend my money in exorbitant amounts. Moreover, I do think that as graphic fidelity improves, there should be some refinements being made. We discussed with Jose from the Nerd Chat on our episode a few weeks back whether or not the Gears of War port could be considered lazy. And in actuality, we very comfortably said the developers are not lazy. That's not what was happening. However, the AI was so poorly implemented. The matchmaking for multiplayer doesn't do modern justices. And this game's from 2006 and in many ways still felt like it. That's, to me, a red flag. And it might be a frustration for modern audiences. Look at current PlayStation sales don't appear to be strong. The counterpoint to that is when you do have a great game, how much are you going to pay to play Super Metroid once more? How much you can Super Mario World or some of these classic games that really do stand the test of time? I think media does not necessarily devalue in terms of its quality, but the value people place on it changes with market shifts. That's how I tend to approach that one. What do you think?
I don't think that you can. I think yes. I do think that a piece of media really does devalue in time. A lot of that is market. A lot of that is saturation. It's why we have sales. Eventually, you get to a point where you are no longer going to sell a game at its full cost because people are there's a barrier to entry there. Over time, while it is accessible and playable, games will eventually drop in cost to help try and make up for the lack of market that is not going to pay the price that you're currently asking. Supply and demand. Mm-hmm. As time goes on, what happens is that content becomes less readily available because the hardware is outdated, it doesn't work, copies are lost, digital libraries are shifted away from. So you have that situation where the demand starts to grow because accessibility to that content is waning. And what happens is you get the collector's market and the value of content actually starts to go back up because, and a lot of this comes into play when you start to see people that played games as kids grow up, they get in their 20s, and then they start to get into their 30s, and then they start to get to a place where they have that expendable cash. And that's when nostalgia starts to kick in because they don't have the stuff that they used to. So they start looking for the stuff that made them happy back in their teenage years, right? Those pivotal moments. That's typically when those games will go in rise in cost because that generation is now sucking up the supply of when that stuff was. N64 was very expensive not that long ago. Now GameCube is actually going up in cost because the generational shift is moving along and the expendable cash is being introduced into a new generation who are nostalgic for that stuff. So I think that media does devalue in time, but eventually it will go back up. If you look at eBay trying to find a virtual boy online, you're going to have to pay somewhere between $200 to $500. and most of that will generally include the 14 games that were released for it. But it's harder to get, and it will be a nostalgia-based grab, which means that they can charge more for that. When I look at something like Mario Galaxy 1 and 2 HD at $70, and I look at the fact that that's 2 games that are available, I look at the fact that not that long ago, Nintendo sold us a Mario All-Stars. That included...
That was the last thing I bought on my Switch ever.
That included Mario Galaxy. And it was also then talked about why they didn't include Galaxy 2. There's a reason from a consumer perspective to look at this and say, like, they should have updated this copy with Sunshine, with Galaxies, with 64, and had an update for the Switch 2 version that included Galaxy 2. Instead, they are taking a game from a previously released 35-year anniversary and adding it to the sequel as its own thing for the Switch 2 and Switch 1 launch as the 40th anniversary edition. So there is a lack of consumer consideration going into the fans that have already purchased this, who are already probably subscribers to the Nintendo Switch Online service, where they're already getting access to Mario Sunshine and Mario 64. So it's truly just the diehards that are buying the physical cartridges that want to have this for the sake of preservation. So it feels like a cash grab in that sense. The quality of the game does not impact the value necessarily in this case, because we already know that they are good games. The upscaling is assumed because you're going from a 720p console to a 1080 or 4K console. So there's an assumed expectation that these games are going to look better or need to look better if you're going to sell them, especially if you're going to have them at the full resolution that they should be, given the increase in technology. So it absolutely does devalue over time, but eventually it will swing back up and as people get interested in it, and then eventually it'll drop right back down.
Yep. Agree. Well said. Well, no, don't apologize. That was a very well articulated argument. I very much appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I do want to give a huge thank you and shout out to Freight Conductor, who gifted 5 XEP memberships. Thank you so much, Freight Conductor. That support means the world. We are grateful, my friend. Sincerely. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. We had another question in our Discord. This one's from Nicholas Johnson. Let me cut and paste this bad boy over here. Nicholas Johnson, always an incredible Discord member as well. Regularly contributes. Nick says, overall, I feel like Xbox has had a successful year outside of the layoffs. If you could define success for them for the rest of the year, of this year and next year, what would it look like?
Ooh.
Success for Xbox looks like continuing to chart on multiple storefronts to include Steam and PlayStation. I think the Gears of War launch was okay and then really fell off. And I think that kind of shot themselves in the foot with E-Day next year. And part of success next year is a launch for Gears of War E-Day on multiple storefronts, charting well, gaining good traction, not just good word of mouth. So they need that game to hit, because Gears of War Reloaded did not. I mean, we were disappointed at ourselves, and like 1.3 million players across all platforms sounds okay. And then you factor in that it was new to an entire audience. That might be kind of a red flag. And again, it's a 2006 game. It's a remaster of a remaster. There are asterisks next to it, but you would have hoped Gears of War would have done better for a new audience regardless. So Gears of War E-Day needs to do well for next year. For this year, you need to have a successful Call of Duty launch, which that one's looking. But they do have a wonderful October queued up between Keeper, between Ninja Gaiden, and the Outer Worlds 2. I think Outer Worlds 2 has the best chance of exploding onto the scene as far as like really doing well. I think Ninja Gaiden is going to be Ninja Gaiden in a good way, and Keeper is going to fall flat and be forgotten pretty quickly. And I don't mean that as a diss. I just don't see Double Fine's likely amazing experience as getting mainstream buy-in. I do sincerely hope that as far as success for this year, people look back and see that Xbox produced multiple games on the PlayStation, and those games nailed it in terms of sales when you look at uh, Elder Scrolls Oblivion and Forza Horizon 5. That's fantastic. Avowed launched this year. South of Midnight launched this year. Grounded 2 launched this year into early access and did extremely well. And then you've got that big October coming up. So I think there's a lot of ways to look and say this thing rocks. Xbox has done a very good job this year in terms of releases. The big question mark for me is the handheld. How well does it launch? How well is it accepted? What's that price point? We still don't know. So that's the big question mark in the year. Logan, that's my take. What's yours?
I think it's really hard to define Xbox having. I think Xbox has had a successful year on the backs of, if I'm being perfectly honest, Obsidian and Bethesda or id Software. Grounded 2 did really, really well. Avowed brought in a whole new audience of people to Obsidian that they did not expect to find such a good RPG in. Doom was amazing. Like, we've had some really good hits with them. Outer Worlds 2 is probably going to do really, really well. I don't know that it's going to be like gangbusters or like a 10 out of 10, but I do expect a really fun experience. Even if you can't romance your companions. But I do think success for Xbox needs to show the growth in the Xbox Ally and help propagate their storefronts across multiple hardware sets, and that adoption grows. Like, we just saw that there was a new partnership with LG to bring more of the Xbox app to was it Cars? I think it was. I'm trying to remember what that story was. That was basically talking about how Game Pass is going to be spread across more ecosystems with a partnership on LG in this case. But at the end of the day, I think the success for them is that they don't see a dip in Game Pass subscriptions, and that they're able to release on more platforms than they currently are. We still have not seen any support for the Switch 2 for Xbox. And that feels like an elephant in the room to me. What's up?
Well, something that like a half thought entered my mind is that I was listening to some sort of gaming media news, essentially that the Switch 2 carts are a problem for Unreal Engine 5 for games that use a lot of like data streaming to get their content flowing. And that has become a significant hindrance for a lot of games because they do data streaming to show their game in real time, and the carts can't do that. And so I wonder if that's why, because a lot of Xbox games are currently using Unreal Engine, but I don't know enough to like, this is why. This is not like, and I don't want to pretend like I do. I see a lot of content creators like read the press release and then they're like, that's I know all about it. No, I know absolutely nothing. I just had a half thought, and that's what you saw. I was like, is that why? I don't know.
It could be. You're not wrong. I think that Nintendo charging whatever they charge is enough of a deterrent to have publishers not want to buy those cartridges, which is pushing them to the game key system, where you're essentially getting a cartridge that has a game key on it. You can sell that cartridge when you're done with it, and the game key will be on there, even though it's a digital good, but you're not getting the game physically on the cart. You're just getting an access key to download the digital version of it. So half step to what I would like to see with selling used digital goods. But I think to kind of go back to like the question, Xbox's success is going to have to be in the games that they foster with the studios that they have partnerships and own. I think them needing to make sure that games like State of Decay 3, Fable, Blade, Call of Duty Contraband's dead. I forgot about that. I think the next one for Xbox is realistically going to be Clockwork Revolution, and they are living in that world of quirky games with like Fable, Clockwork, Outer Worlds, that sense of humor. It remains to be seen like what's going to happen with Blade. I would hope that Blade is a little bit more serious with a light levity, the way that the movies are. Aside from Trinity, we don't need to talk about that.
Oh, I watched it the other day.
We don't need to talk about that. But I do think that Xbox's success is going to remain in their services, not necessarily with their games or their hardware. And I think that they're good. I think they're going to be fine there. But I don't know that that's necessarily the consumer friendly approach.
Fair. Our buddy Clutch Quando saying Xbox's success is if it's a profitable business. So far, so good. Okay.
Yeah. Success to me, if I was Phil Spencer, nice gentleman, would be not having to succumb to Satya Nadella's requests that projects get canceled, that studios get sold or shuttered, or layoffs have to happen within the industry. That would be a successful year for me. If the games do well enough that you don't have to lay people off, I would take a bonus.
I will tell you, this may cancel every review code Xbox ever gives us in the future, but I really hope Satya Nadella stubs his toe and like walks into a desk and it bumps his thigh.
I stubbed my toe the other day. It hurts. Right? It sucks.
Yeah, that's what I want for him.
Yeah,
I want that for him. All his AI garbage and the way he's it's just I don't like it. Nissa Hauer in our chat, and she put this in our Discord, but I hadn't had time to check it, so that's why I hadn't brought it up immediately, but she helped me out. She said that Destin Legary put up a video about the Xbox Ally, and in his words, confirmed the pricing. Now, that's Destin saying this, but Destin's saying that $899 and $549 are the prices of the Xbox Ally X from ROG. Cool. Yeah. If that's true, rock on. Destin's been right before, he's been wrong before, but
I mean, that's
cool. That's better than we thought.
I mean, $550 for the handheld. I mean, we're talking like something that's probably close to an Xbox Series S as far as quality. It's having it portable is going to be nice. Yeah. And it's going to be a low enough barrier to entry with the Xbox ecosystem that I think it would be considerable to look at as like a yes, that I could see that. Gosh, man, handhelds are just too expensive for casuals to jump into. Even Nintendo is kind of killing themselves right now by offering the Switch 2 at $450 when their market is saturated. We just got the Nintendo Direct. We saw a lot of games still getting pushed over to the Nintendo One because they know 130 million people have bought that $300 game or the console, or that $350 OLED, or that $200 Switch Lite.
Right.
It's a big market to not ignore.
It's frustrating because we were finally getting to a point where we were leaving PS4 and Xbox One behind. And then Genshin Impact's like, all right, we'll do it. It's like, no. Yeah. No. Like, what are you going to do? I'm ready for Dead by Daylight, one of my favorite games of all time, to leave that old system behind. I want Sea of Thieves to leave it behind.
Sea of Thieves is they're never going to let go of the Xbox One. But I hate that.
Need to. The Series X is old. The Series X is old. Yeah. But the Xbox One, it's crazy talk.
They're like, we want to maintain a 10-year game on hardware that was released way back in the day. Like,
so frustrating. Big shout out to our buddy Clutch Quando as we round out.
Clutch. That's very sweet of you.
5 XEP memberships. Thank you, Clutch, man. I really appreciate it, man. I really appreciate it. Thank you. Sincerely.
Do you think Chronos is coming to Game Pass at some point? Because I do.
I hope so, because I want to play it. I do want to play it.
I'm thinking Chronos will make a reveal in October that they're gonna, after the first 30 days. Yeah, I think after the first 30 days. And they'll probably do, I would imagine they will probably do maybe a 3 or 6 month agreement for Chronos. Because I think they wanted to sell first. And I think they're probably going to do like a 30-day kind of like see how it goes. And then I think they're going to probably talk to Xbox and try and get onto either, PS Plus or Xbox Game Pass. Because I think that they're seeing some success, but I think that they want the boost of the subscriber base. So I think it would be smart if I was on that team. I'd be like, hey, have we hit up Xbox to see if we can get our game on Game Pass for October?
It would certainly be a big hit.
Yeah,
I think anybody that bought it would be pissed.
That's fine. Early adoption.
I think it's fine too.
Early adoption. You own the game.
I think that is the nature of it. However, I wonder if they wouldn't, in terms of mindshare, hurt their
How many times have you bought a game, not played it, and then it came to Game Pass?
Plenty. Again,
Guilty.
I'm okay with it. I think that is the price of being the early adopter.
Yeah.
But Bloober, that's Bloober, right? Bloober made Chronos?
I don't actually know, to be perfectly honest.
Because they did Silent Hill, that did really well for them.
Oh, yeah.
Yep. Chronos did really well in terms of quality. I don't know sales or anything.
See, there you go. They're probably going to hop on the next project and be like, all right, well, let's get some residuals through Chronos. We're going to move on to the next game.
Yeah, that's fair. Nerd Jose says he's digging it. I'm excited because I hear it's digestible. That's why I want to play Dying Light and Chronos. Like spooky season, digestible, single player. I want to do that. So
I don't blame you.
All right. I sincerely just want to thank everybody for watching and supporting, particularly as Logan and I have completed all these life changes and are still saying you guys are all hanging out. Thank you, Clutch and Freight Conductor, for the gifted subs this week. Thank you, Nissa and Nerdchat and Silkenit for the questions. Thank you to the hitting reload 17 people who have liked the stream. We've had over 20 concurrent viewers the entire time. We appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And of course, again, I'll shout out our patrons as well. Logan, what are you up to? What do you got going on, my friend?
I'm gonna go see Demon Slayer tonight for the Infinity Castle movie. Cool. I would love to go see the new Conjuring Last Rites as well.
So funny that you watch Scary, you don't play Scary.
It's because it's a passive versus interactive. It's harder for me to push forward on a control stick when I know it's going to scare me than it is for me to sit back and be like, it's just a story being told.
Gotcha.
No one's going to run over and grab me. I don't have to walk around the corner. Someone else is doing it for me. Love watching, can't interact as well. But yeah, that's what I got going on. I also have to build blackout blinds for my living room here so that I can have a nice spooky kind of setting. And I don't know, I bought little ghosties for my lawn out in front of my apartment, and I got like a little Halloween stuff going up. I got spider webs and little spooky Halloween stuff on my garland going up my stuff. So I'm getting in the season, man. I'm just chilling right now. I can't really say that I've had the desire to really jump into any one particular game, which is kind of sad, but also I've just been super tired. How about you?
My wife and I, we've both been on 14-hour days, so we barely have seen each other in the last week. And so I think tonight we're going to watch Until Dawn. Like, she's at the lab right now. But when she gets back, we're going to have some sushi. I want to watch Until Dawn. We want to watch that together. I want to watch Clown in a Cornfield, which shout out. No, just said Clown in a Cornfield. I want to watch that as well.
What is that on?
It's $15 on Vudu. I don't know. I'm going to get it at some point, but there's a lot of horror on Netflix I want to watch. And I have a paper due Monday and a paper due next weekend, and that's just my life now as I just write all about stuff. So that's my mission. But I did play my first adult soccer league game last week, and first game in 15 years that I got to play, which was really fun. I did really well. I'm the goalkeeper, and I made a bunch of good saves, which was fun. All the kids were like 21, and they're like, "How old are you?" And I'm like 39, and they're like, "Ugh," and I was like, "Yeah, I'll be the goalie." Hello. But that was fun. Trying to find balance and not overdo anything,
Yeah.
I have great students this year, man. I tell you what. One of them, I'll give a shout out to one of them without saying the name. They wanted us to talk about Assassin's Creed Shadows. I told them to go look at the review, but I love that game. So I just want that kid to know.
That's one I never did get to. I never got past like the 5-hour mark on that one. I was loving it. I was playing it. I was just enjoying the heck out of it. And then something else came up. And I don't know why.
Nissa
I don't know what Drake Hollow. Yeah. What is Drake Hollow?
It looks fun. It's got grounded vibes. It's spooky, not scary.
It's a game?
It's a game. It's on sale for $6 on Xbox right now. It's normally $30.
All right.
Give it a look, because I saw it and I was like, I have $6 because of points. So I picked it up on Nissa's recommendation at some point. So, yeah.
I appreciate the recommend. That's a good, and we're gonna be wanting more like spooky. Kind of recommendations as we go.
I love spooky. Scary. I like scary, but I love spooky. So,
yeah.
Yep. Alrighty, guys. That's going to be it for us. We hope you all have a fantastic rest of your week. Be good to each other. Play some games. Take care.